Jules, we've had the playoff draw for the UEFA section of the 2022 World Cup.
Yeah.
My first instinct is we can safely say this draw was not rigged in favor of the big boys and the powers that be and whatever else. Yeah, you're with me on that.
Definitely, I'm with you on that. If you consider that Portugal will face Turkey, who obviously was a team at the Euros like them, and then obviously potentially Italy in the final to go to the World Cup. This is a tough path. So definitely no favors for the big ones.
So anybody who thought, and maybe it has happened in the past, that they set this up for the big teams and the big markets and the big superstars. Yeah. No. If they tried this time with the hot balls, the cold balls, didn't quite work out. Let's remind people what's going to happen because we have 12 teams. The 12 teams are basically been divided into 3 Final Fours. Yeah. You play semifinals. All the semifinals, all 6 of them are going to be played on March 24th. These seeded teams will be playing at home, and then they're going to advance to a final. We already know who's going to play at home from which side of the draw, playing the winners in the other half. So I think this is pretty much sink or swim, mano a mano, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, you snooze, you lose.
Exactly. This should at least make for compelling television. So let's go through this because, Path A, we have on one side of the draw, Scotland and Ukraine. On the other side, we have Wales and Austria. The winner of the Wales-Austria game will be hosting the final. Let's start with them then. Wales and Austria. Look, my first instinct is Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey never play for the club team, so they'll be pretty well rested when this comes around, right?
They will be rested, and they will obviously play at home that game because they were seeded. So you could think that either in the Cardiff Stadium or maybe even the Millennium, if they can have 70,000 people there, close the roof, incredible atmosphere. And this is, I think, on paper, certainly it's a good Austrian team. We saw them at the Euros. They were not great in the group stage, but then caused a lot of problems for Italy in the last 16. So nothing to take for granted, but certainly I think Wales can at home can beat them, and approach to, if Scotland do the same, could be the Battle of Britain for a place in the World Cup. How cool would that be?
I've got Austria as slight favorites, but very, very slight. The other half of the draw, as we said, Scotland and Ukraine. Both these teams, of course, also were at the Euros. I think Scotland has surprised a number of people. Yeah. On paper, Scotland at home, Hampden again, a really big home field advantage effect. Is that going to be enough?
I think it could be. I mean, the way they played against Denmark, and I know Denmark had nothing to play for. They were already top of their group in the last game of the qualifier group stage. They were great, I thought, with the ball. The problem is they don't have a number 9 that is a very clinical striker. But I think on set pieces, with all the fans behind them, with that sort of the sort of new mentality that Steve Clarke has brought since taking over, I think they have a chance. I would, I'm not impressed by Ukraine. I was not when they played against France, even if they got a draw in Paris. They've lost Shevchenko as their head coach, which I think is a big blow. So I would go like, Scotland, go for it and meet Wales in the final.
That would be something. I mean, I got to say, out of these 4, for me, the best team on paper is Austria. However, we're talking 4 months from now. So much can happen. And this, of course, applies to everybody. In Path B, we have what they're calling Path B. We have on one side, Russia against Poland. No love lost there. This one's going to be really, really feisty. And the winner of that one will get to play at home against the winner of Sweden against Czech Republic. Let's start with Russia and Poland, because here we have on both sides of the draw, what we've got, obviously, Ibrahimovic of Sweden. Robert Lewandowski, question is he going to make it to the World Cup, to a major tournament? I'm leaning Poland. I just wonder, Russia away in March. If you're Russia, imagine if you play this game in Novosibirsk or something like that. I don't know. I'm just looking at the permutations, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, the home advantage could be huge here, but Karpin is in charge now. We saw them against Croatia, sort of bottling it if you want. Well, not bottling it, but it was a tough away game for sure, the last one. But they had the destiny in their own hands before going to Croatia. They lost that game, which is the reason why they're in this playoff. I don't know. There's no Zubia. It's still a very hit and miss national team. Let's be honest here, capable of really good things. With
yeah,
like
you say there's no Zuba, but 4 months from now, maybe they can still kiss and make up, and the big man can return. My question is, are they actually better with Artem Zuba?
Yeah. They're certainly better with him, and him putting out with Karpin was not the right thing. But with all the tensions politically as well, I think even in 4 months' time, I think there can be so much tension in the air, a bit stressed, a bit of confrontation, fans as well. You can just imagine the kind of atmosphere that will be there. But I'm with you. I think Poland should see this one out. And Paulo Sousa, our friend, we love dearly, I think is the work in progress is quite positive for Poland, even if the Euros was not as maybe successful as they would have liked to.
Yeah, I think to some degree, Paulo, depending how this ends up, I think Paulo may be playing for his job, frankly, in this game. The other semifinal, Sweden against the Czech Republic. Let's try to move on. Obviously, the story is going to be like, can Zlatan go to the World Cup? Okay, fine. It's not just Zlatan, though. Sweden were doing pretty well before he came back, before his injury. You're talking Forsberg, you're talking Isak.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look back in that game against Spain and all the wasted opportunities they have. And I think the Swedes are going to be pretty happy when I say this with the greatest of respect for the Czech Republic. You know how much I love Tomáš Souček. They'd be like, yeah, we kind of like this matchup, frankly.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Czech Republic is very doable on paper if you're Sweden. If you're the Sweden that beat Spain, you are. If there's the Sweden that went away to Georgia, for example, was quite wasteful in terms of the chances that they created and then defended so poorly on set pieces, not on set pieces. Victor Lindelof, eyes best, which is quite low. Then I think you don't know what you're going to get. But you think that for that game, if psychologically they haven't been hurt too much by not qualifying directly to the World Cup and having all those missed opportunity, the defeat in Greece, the defeat in Georgia, even before the game against Spain, I think they should really see out this game and beat the Czechs.
So the question is, who are we picking to get out of this pathway? Because
Lewandowski against Ibra, who is your money?
That would be
That would be cool.
Thing. So for me, on paper, I would say Poland are probably the most talented. Poland or Sweden are the two most talented teams out of these four. The reality is, Poland away to Russia, they could easily get knocked out there. It's not unfathomable. Mm-hmm. And if they go out, and if it's Russia-Sweden in Russia, I'm not sure. I might lean towards Russia, no?
I don't know.
That's really what makes this so interesting. It's so tough.
It's great. And as we said, this format is fantastic because we all going to be like glued to the TV. One game, it could all be on penalties, could be decided on literally a flip of a coin. It's going to be great. I still think Sweden will do it. I think in that path, I will go for Sweden. All
right, now on to Part C, because we have the last two.
Already. I know you are stressed already.
Jules, I know it's hard for you to understand because you only have 2 World Cups at home, but we've got twice as many. We can be very zen about this.
We don't count the one in the 30s. Do you know that? Yeah.
I got you count whatever you like. We've won 2 World Cups, so I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. But I do look at this and I say, obviously, Italy and Portugal on paper heavily favored, and the easy narrative here is the last 2 European champions, or the current European champions, against Cristiano Ronaldo and Bernardo Silva and so on, and Fernando Santos. I think that's one factor. There's just going to be so much pressure. But let's take a step back, because these teams have to get to the final. We've seen Italy underestimate opponents. We've certainly seen Portugal underestimate opponents. Italy, North Macedonia, you don't want to underestimate North Macedonia. But I think it's pretty obvious. Italy at home in Rome, they have to be favored, right?
Yeah, huge favorite, of course.
When you screw this up, you just all resign and go home. And
if you don't beat North Macedonia in the semifinals, you don't deserve to go to the World Cup anyway. It's just
exactly. So just over, right?
Yeah, completely. And it would be very disappointing, big blow. But if you can't beat back-to-back Northern Ireland, all be in Belfast, and then at home North Macedonia, you just don't deserve. You don't belong at the World Cup. So,
and if you miss 2 penalties against Switzerland and fail to beat Bulgaria and all this other stuff,
So on the back of all of that, you would not deserve to go. However, the big favorite, and rightly so. There's a lot of links between the two countries because there's a few Macedonians who played, obviously, like Elmas, like Pandev before, so they will know each other quite well. But the pressure will be all on Italy, nothing on North Macedonia. They get out, it's normal. They go through, they beat Italy. This is the greatest game in their history, the greatest win in their history, even better than when they beat the German and Jogi Löw a few months ago. So I just don't know how Italy are going to cope with that kind of pressure, considering Mancini said before, for example, that anxiety got to them, during the World Cup qualifiers, that pressure got to them and that they didn't cope well with it. So let's hope they learn that lesson and be ready to go for that game against North Macedonia.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting when he said that, because in my lifetime, I think anxiety and pressure really rarely get to Italy. Normally when Italy are beaten, it's because they're simply not good enough, not because they feel, if anything, they tend to perform better when they're under pressure and less well when they think that, they're all that. Yeah. After the experience they went to, I don't think they'll be thinking they're all that. Hopefully they'll have the right, hopefully from my perspective, less so if you're North Macedonian, they'll have the right degree of pressure. Portugal and Turkey, obviously Portugal are at home. Turkey traditionally do not travel particularly well. I think Turkey are a talented side or I thought they were. They let me down at the Euros. They let me down a little bit in qualifying. I just look at this and I say, there's no way Portugal can get this wrong again, right?
I think
they got to be heavily favored.
I think this is one of the worst draws, I have to say, because
really?
On one hand, you favorite, and on the other hand, in a way, Portugal don't like to be the favorite. I don't think currently, with the struggles that they've had in the game, the bad results, all of that, I don't think if it suits them to be super favorite or ultra favorite or even just favorite. And I think for Turkey, they're the perfect underdogs, the perfect team that you said, Portugal should do it. But the Turks are going to be so up for it, so motivated, so aggressive. I can bet you that a lot of the stadium will be filled with Turkish fans. And then suddenly it looks like the perfect banana skin for Portugal, who already are not too much in confidence when it comes down to the national team. Fernando Santos, as we said, certainly I believe should not be in that position anymore. There's been too many bad things since he won that Euros in 2016. And you could easily see them struggling to win that one. They might qualify and go to the final and meet Italy, probably. But you could also see them struggling and even not making it, to be fair.
I think the tricky thing for everybody in this competition is going to be there's no warm-up games between now and March.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a couple training sessions. You're going to have to pick on form, and it's all going to be in those 90 minutes. And this puts a really, really big onus on the managers, I think, in terms of getting it right, especially the managers of the bigger teams. I still think Portugal beat Turkey. Yeah. And I think we're heading for an Italy-Portugal final. And then from there, even though it's in Portugal, maybe that is where the pressure comes in. Cristiano, whatever else. I picked against Italy, I think, in every single game at the Euros, but that rule applies for the Euros. I think different rules apply for playoffs. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Italy to advance out of this quartet. I'm going to pick Sweden from the second pathway. And I'm going to pick, simply because Poland away to Russia, I just have a bad feeling about that. And from Group A, just a tad, I think if Austria can do it, I think Austria are there. What about you? I'm assuming you're going to go with Wales from Path A, yeah?
Because of Mrs. L, I have to go with Wales, and I believe in the boys and in Aaron Ramsey. We trust. So here we go. Wales in Path A. Path B, I want to believe in the Ibra magic at some point. At 40 years old, I can sort of lead this team. Not even maybe, doesn't have to carry it, but lead this team towards the World Cup, his last World Cup for sure. So I go Wales, Sweden.
Don't say last World Cup for sure. You don't know. You don't know.
You never know. Lions never die or something.
Exactly.
Like and then Path C, because you're my brother from another mother, and I believe in you and your country and your people, I'll go for Italy and Roberto Mancini.
All right, man. Well, there you have it. I think the last thought I just want to make to people is we spent time talking about how they looked in these games. None of this matters. It's 4 months from now. Exactly. We talked about Cristiano. We talked about Ibra. People can get injured. They might not be playing in these games. They could be in bad form. So much can change in the space of these 4 months. So take these predictions, cum grano salis, as they like to say in Latin, and let's see where we are come March.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.